in the previous episode of Explore Mongolia. On our first day, we explored Lake Pulp and the Central Museum of Ulgii City. The next day, we started the real journey to the Altai Tavnbogd Mountain. 3 hours on dirt road and we were already stuck in the mud. With an iron will, we made it through. Luckily, the Tsagansala rock carvings were just along the way, so we took a look at the world-famous rock carvings. Next stop, Altai Tavnbogd. The gallery continues for 15 kilometers. The further we go, the more interesting carvings popped up. Unfortunately, we had to continue our journey. Did you know that Tsagansala rock paintings were inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List as part of the Mongolian Altai's petroglyphs in 2011? There was a family winter home right next to these carvings, and how cool is that? It's like building your home inside a museum. After spending hours at the Tsagansala rock carvings, we continued our journey to Altai Tavnbogd Mountain. It has been fairly rainy this year, so the road was rather muddy. I was worried we would get stuck in the mud again and lose time and boots. However, we would run into totally different problems in the days ahead. Along the way, I have seen something that I have never seen before. Literal herds of marmots just living their best lives. Now, let me explain why this was a really rare sight for me. 1 or 2 marmots, it is quite common, but at least 8 or 9 of them in a small area is not something you would see every day. Marmot hunting itself is temporarily legal in Mongolia due to their rapidly decreasing numbers and the risk of a possible bubonic plague outbreak. Despite this, marmots remains a delicacy for Mongolian people. Ask any Mongolian if they like marmot, and the answer will be unanimously yes, of course. Plus, marmot hide is good for business. Naturally, this makes marmots a prime target for poachers. Because of this, you wouldn't see this many marmots just chilling in any other province in Mongolia. Marmots are not hunted widely in Bayan-Ulgii because of religious reasons. Locals say that if they wanted to hunt marmot, they wouldn't even need a gun, because you could just run up to one and give them a good whack on the back of the head with a rock. That was absolutely hilarious because they were actually serious about that. Speaking of hilarious, let me tell you how Mongolians hunt marmots. It is both weird and hilarious for people who don't know about it. Hunters wear bright colored clothes and a weirdly shaped hat and carry a tail tied to a stick. They walk and dance in a weird manner to catch the curiosity of the marmot, slowly getting closer to them. At this point, it is too late for the marmot to realize it is being bamboozled, and the next thing they see is the barrel of a rifle. There is a saying, curiosity kills the cat. Well, in Mongolia, curiosity kills marmots. Let us continue our journey before poachers get a bright idea to hunt in Bayan-Ulgii Province. Bayan-Ulgii Province is a very mountainous region. According to the studies made at Sagasala rock paintings, this region had big forests. It is amazing how nature changes through millennia, and we do not realize how different a landscape was hundreds of years ago. Finally, we have arrived at the outskirts of Altai Tambakht. The outpost was guarded by a ranger. I had to change to my warmer clothes at this point because it was getting considerably colder as we climbed to a higher altitude. From this outpost you have two choices. If you have the permission, you can carry on to Altai Tambakht with your car. Otherwise, you take a horse. To me, the horse was a better choice because the road to Altai Tambakht was really bad, especially for a Russian UAZ van with a really hard bowspring instead of a proper suspension system. And I had to carry on to my dear life whilst being tossed around inside the van. The great Altai Tambakht mountain, the roof of Mongolia. We have finally arrived at the Altai Tambakht. It's the middle of August, but I'm wearing winter clothes. So if you're coming here, make sure you pack warm. First of all, we're going to the Potanian Glacier, so let's go. The name of the mountain literally translates into the Five Saints. The Huitnyargat, or the Cold Peak, is the highest point and is located 4,374 meters above sea level and is the westernmost point of Mongolia. Altai Tambakht has some of the most stunning scenery in all of Mongolia, with towering white mountains, glaciers, deep lush valleys, and large lakes. The park itself is divided into two regions, the Altai Tambakht Mountains in the northeast and the Lakes region in the southeast. The park borders with China and Russia and continues south 200 kilometers following the Altai Mountains, which form the borders of China, Russia, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia. Unfortunately, when we arrived, the sacred mountain has veiled itself in shroud of clouds. Maybe this is because it wanted to encourage you, the viewer, to travel to this magnificent land yourself and get hands-on experience. Nomads coexist with the nature. Thus, Mongolian nomads has been worshipping mountains for eons. Altai Tambakht is one of the 10 state-worshipped mountains. Offering ceremonies are held on the skirts of the mountain every 5 years, during which the president or a delegate appointed by the president of Mongolia arrive to conduct the ceremony. This fact might give you some perspective on how important sacred Altai Tambakht mountain is to Mongolian nomads. Despite getting late, we made our way to the mountain in the hopes of reaching one of the peaks before it gets dark. What looked like small puddles from top of the president's oval where we parked turned out to be huge caverns and lakes, and you might get a perspective of how massive everything is from this fact. We are at one of the peaks. This peak is called Machu Picchu. We wanted to continue on, but unfortunately, as you can see, I'm completely soaked. It's raining, it's snowstorm, and we're walking on ice. So if we want to continue, we need proper equipment. So when you come here, you can experience the peak for yourself. In the shadows of the Tambot Mountain are the Potanin Glaciers and 34 other smaller glaciers. Potanin Glacier, the longest glacier in Mongolia, covers 23 square kilometers. This is the source of the Milk River and Khotong Khorgan Lakes, which we will travel to next. This glacier is named after Grigory Potanin, a Russian ethnographer and natural historian, after his expedition to Altai mountain range. It is not recommended to walk on the ice of the glacier like we did, but our team was willing to risk it to bring you the best program about Altai Tambot, so stay tuned with us. We are right on top of the Potanin Glacier. This runs for kilometers just next to the Tambot Mountain. So we'll continue our journey and reach one of the peaks. We'll see how it goes. Just a few kilometers from this glacier, there is a camping site for tourists and mountaineers to make preparations or to enjoy the view. If you are thinking of what is the best time to travel to Bayan-Ulgii, the busy season is from June to October, when temperatures are warmer. During these months, there is no snow and tour camps and shuttles are most active. The busiest time is in August and September, when the weather is best for mountain climbing. Also, you can visit during the time of the Eagle Festival, which is organized in October. Though the park is still accessible all year round with activities like snow skiing and eagle hunting during the cold winter months. Everything except mountain climbing and rafting is available through the winter. Backcountry skiing has become increasingly popular on the Tambot Mountain during April and May, when the snow is deep and fresh, though the numbers are still small. Over 700 mountaineers have climbed the Altai Tambot Mountain, Huitin Peak, up until today. As much as I wanted to continue, we had to turn back. It was getting dark fast and there was a snowstorm coming, for which our team was unprepared because we were only wearing our spring clothes. So we just came back from the Altai Tambot, and as you can see, cars are still going there. But we will continue our journey and visit our next location. Stay with us. The next day, with sore bodies, we continued our journey to visit Kazakh nomad family. On the way, we passed through Tsarangol, or the Milk River. So, we are on top of the bridge of the White River, or as the locals call it, the Milk River. This river takes its source from the glacier we have visited yesterday, and you can write your guess why this river is white down in the comments below. This river takes its source from the Potanin Glacier and continues for 111 kilometers. It is the biggest tributary of Khovd River. The reason why it is called the White River should be pretty obvious. As to why the water flows white is still a bit of a mystery to me. I think the color comes from the white sand or the chalky soil. The color white is considered sacred in nomadic culture because milk is white. Kind people are often referred to as having white hearts. Local legends say that if a woman takes a bath in the White River, she will be purified. Burial mounds and Kazakh tombs. Now, we talked about the burial mounds in our previous episode on our journey to Khuvsku, so if you want to learn more about it, it is on our Facebook page. This time we focus on Kazakh burial sites. As mentioned before, Kazakh people are Muslims, thus the shape of the grave is dictated by the religion. It is raised above the ground so no one would walk nor sit on it. Kazakh people have close ties with everyone in their extended family, and graveyards are usually reserved to people from particular families. The bigger tomb-like constructions are reserved for chiefs of the tribe. Grave robbing isn't much of a problem around these parts since it is greatly frowned upon and Muslims despise such heinous acts. Hey guys, so this is the human stone, fragment of the past. There are many like this throughout Mongolia. They're just waiting for people to find them and quietly weeping. Another grave, but from much ancient era, the Kurgan stele. Literal translation would be a human stone. You can find many of these throughout Mongolia during your travels. These statues were erected for the burial of significant people in the ancient times. It is believed that humans made these from 4000 BC up until the Middle Ages. This particular one is believed to have been made during the 6th to 8th century AD. Kurgan steles in Mongolia are separated into several different periods depending on the dynasties which ruled during those years. This one is from Turkic era. We determine this from the fact that it is holding a goblet and has a knife or a sword hanging from its belt. Most significant feature is that its head has been cut off. Majority of the Turkic era Kurgan steles have no heads. Just like how people from post-Soviet nations tear down statues, this is what happened after Mongol tribes drove out Turkic tribes from these lands. As a symbol of their victory, every piece of history that might suggest there were Turkic tribes around these lands have been eradicated. According to local researchers, the stones which are laid in front of the stele represents the number of people who mourned during the burial ceremony. As I mentioned before, this region is very mountainous. Naturally, it is very hard to traverse these lands. We experienced it firsthand when our tire got ruptured on a sharp rock. A minor inconvenience, some people might say, but imagine being stranded like this at least 100 kilometers away from the nearest tire repair station. Quite unsettling to think that we might miss our flight if we get one more flat tire. Thank the sacred mountains, that was the last time we had problem with our car. Finally, after all these adventures, we have arrived at the family we sought in the middle of the night. It was raining cats and dogs outside and was pitch dark. I don't know how our driver managed to find his way here, but we were stoked to learn more about this amazing culture the next day. On the next episode of Explore Mongolia. Kazakh people, unique culture and amazing traditions. We are fortunate enough to come during a great celebration. They are very hospitable people. Would you look at that magnificent animal? It was outside during last night's thunderstorm and looks completely unfazed by it. Can't wait to see how Kazakh people celebrate weddings. Stay tuned for our next episode next week to learn more about eagle hunting.